Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Read, and I'm here to read two popular sports romance series to see if they are worth the hype and to understand why they are so popular. So basically, I'm going to be reading the Off-Campus series, the first two books in the Off-Campus series, and the first two books in the Windy City series. Like I said, both of them are very popular, and I just want to see what the hype is about. So basically, the Off-Campus I don't own yet, but it starts with The Deal, and this was published in 2015, so it was hyped back then, and it's still being hyped. So I have very high hopes for this one because, yeah, like I said, it's still a hyped series, which means apparently it stands the test of time. So in this video, I'm going to be reading The Deal and The Mistake, so the first two books, like I said. Yeah, this is basically a college sports romance following 4 different hockey players and them falling in love. So this series has been on my TBR for such a long time. It's constantly being recommended. I do have to say, especially the first book is very much so the more popular of all the other ones. Every now and then I hear people recommend like the third or the fourth or the second book, but The Deal I remember people constantly keep recommending, so I'm very excited about those. And then so that is like an older series. The other series I want to read is a newer series, and it's the Windy City series. So I actually bought these two mainly because they were kind of very expensive on ebook, whereas if I just shelled out a couple more euros, I could get the paperback, so I did. This was published in 2022 and 2023, so it's definitely more recent, but it has been getting a lot of hype, especially The Right Move, the second book. So I figured let's read an older series and a newer series. Whereas the Off-Campus series is a college setting, more of new adult. This is definitely adult. These were following professional sports, professional athletes. The first one also follows a hockey guy. Yeah, a professional hockey player. And this one follows a professional basketball player. So mostly hockey in this video, but also a different sport. Even though this is more recent, it has been getting so much hype, so I'm very excited. I do have to say, these books are significantly longer than the Off-Campus series. This is over 500 pages, almost 600 pages, and The Right Move is almost 500 pages. I do have to say, I'm not a big fan of romance books getting longer and longer and longer. I do feel like, especially contemporary romance, you should be able to write me that story in 400 pages or less. But I don't know, we'll see. I'm very excited to read these two books. I do have to say, I did film my intro later than I thought. So actually, I've already read The Deal plus The Mistake, and I currently am reading Mile High. But I'll update you later on in this video, but I'm gonna film it right now. So yes, very excited about this vlog. I do really want to get into reading more sports romances, so I do feel like these two series give me a good baseline as to what I will think of the genre, but also what I will think of these series, these very hyped, popular series. So excuse my appearance, I look like shit, but whatever. I am about halfway through The Deal. I'm on page 140. And I love it so much. It is such a good book. So for those of you who don't know, The Deal is about a hockey player named Garrett and a music major named Hannah. And Garrett is is a very smart kid, but he's failing this philosophy class, which I don't blame him. Philosophy, especially seeing his struggles of like all these ethical dilemmas that he has to deal with and not actually answered as himself, but as these old dead philosophers would have answered those dilemmas. It was just very funny. Anyway, so he's failing this class, and Hannah's the only one who actually aced this class. So he kind of badgers her into making her tutor him. So eventually she agrees because she has a crush on this football guy, and Garrett notices. So he's like, you know what is gonna make him like you is if he thinks that I like you because he's very popular, Garrett is. So they make a deal, hence the title, that she will tutor him and then he will take her out on a date, and basically they'll fake date to get this football guy interested in her. And Hannah's dealing with a lot because this is not a spoiler, she says so at the beginning of the book, She has been raped. She has trouble orgasming with other guys. And, you know, she doesn't drink at parties, stuff like that. And Garrett has, I think, like, his dad is abusive. So, yeah, we haven't gotten to those parts yet. It's mostly been like, they just had their fake date, actually. They're so cute together. I do have to say, this book was written in 2015, and it does show some things are a little bit dated, but that's fine. I'm still really enjoying it. Garrett is pretty immature, but I kind of like that. It just makes him very cute. I also really like the fact that they actually became friends now. Like, even though it's only been a week, you can tell that they really respect each other and like each other. And yeah, look, there's a book there. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. And one fun thing about this vlog is that this is going to be my 100th book I read this year. And my Goodreads goal was set for 100. So that is fun too. I don't know if it's fun for you guys, but it's definitely fun for me. I think I'll definitely finish it today because, like I said, I'm on page 140 and it's only 10 o'clock now. I'm homesick. I don't feel very well, but good for me. I can still read, and I have been reading a lot, so that's good. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna update you anymore on this book until I finish it, but this is definitely at least a 4-star and probably a 5-star. Listen, I'm giving out 5 stars like it's my part-time job, and I'm very happy about it. I can definitely see why this stood the test of time. I'm already very intrigued by his roommates' stories. I'm very excited that I will be reading The Mistake this month too, because it's about Logan, and I thought he was the most interesting roommate so far. I think those are all my thoughts so far. Oh yeah, one thing I do have to say, I haven't read a whole lot of sports romance, but I already find the chapters or the scenes where he's actually playing the sport and it's from his point of view kind of boring. So there was one scene of that in here, so I kind of skimmed it a little bit. I just don't give a fuck. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. And I kind of love that he's a little bit arrogant. Not a little bit, a lot of it. I really thought this was going to remind me of One Tree Hill. And it does a little bit, but not as much as I thought. I mean, it's fine. But I feel like the part where he's like begging her to tutor him, that kind of reminded me of the beginning of Nathan and Haley. But like all the other things, like she's not that much of a nerd as I thought she would be. But yes, I'm really enjoying it, and I guess you'll see me once I finish. Okay, let's see. So 5 stars for sure. Post. Yeah, baby. 100 books. All right, I just finished the deal, as you could just see. I really loved it. I really, really loved it. As you could see, I gave it 5 stars. Oh my God, don't mind the hair. This is just, this might be a little bit better. I really, really loved it. Let me just, you know what? I don't give a fuck. Sorry, deal with it. I really loved it. I loved Garrett. He was so, so, so sweet. And I thought they were very great together. And I can definitely see why a lot of people really love this series. I honestly thought I knew what happened with Hannah. So I knew it wasn't going to be all light and fluffy, but I didn't know Garrett's backstory. And that was also very sad and heartbreaking. I gave it 5 stars. I really loved it. It definitely does stand the test of time. This book was written 8 years ago, and I 100% love it, would highly recommend. Next, so I'm waiting for Mile High and The Right Move. I cannot get them as paperbacks because they come out, like they've been picked up by a traditional publisher and they come out again halfway through August. So I think I'm going to read a couple other books in between, but the next book I'm going to pick up is going to be The Mistake. And I'm really excited about that because I'm very interested in Logan's story, especially reading The Deal, because he kind of had a crush on Hannah, the main female character of The Deal. So, and I believe it's going to be a second chance romance, which I love second chance romances. So very excited about that. So I guess same with the deal, I will update you once I'm halfway through that book. Okay, so I'm about halfway through The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. So I'm on chapter 19, and I already love it. It is so good. So basically this story is about Grace and Logan. Logan has been crushing on Garrett's girlfriend, Hannah, from the first book. And he kind of wants what Garrett has. So he just wants a stable girlfriend. He wants to have a relationship with somebody that he loves, and he wants to do like girlfriend things with her. So he meets Grace, who's a sophomore. Well, she's in her first year, and she's just like quirky, and she's a virgin, and he's like this womanizer, same as Garrett. Like he just couldn't get any girl he wants. So they kind of start hooking up, but on the night when she decides to lose her virginity to him, he just blurts out that he basically is using her to get over somebody else. So she makes him leave, and then the summer goes by, and now where I'm at now, he's trying to win her over. So basically the groveling begins, and I am so excited about it. It is so good. I really love Logan already. I've loved him in the first book. He is just a sad boy, okay? He, just like Garrett, has some issues with his dad. Logan's dad is an alcoholic, and it's just really, really sad to read about his life. And yeah, basically, it's very sad, most of all, to read about like his future, because he has made a pact with his brother that he will not, like when he finishes college, he will come back and take care of his dad's auto shop, be a mechanic, even though he could get drafted into the NHL, I think. So yeah, I really love them together. I think they're a very cute couple. And I am very glad that Grace is kind of sticking up for herself, especially since there's a storyline with her best friend who's a bitch. And a part of me kind of hates that storyline because basically her girlfriend's choosing guys over Grace, and she basically betrayed Grace in one of the worst ways. So that's a sucky thing to do, and I hope that she won't forgive her. But I kind of hate that bitchy girl storylines. I really don't like those. But anyway, we'll see how that storyline turns out. I don't know if I love this book more than I did The Deal, because I did really love The Deal. I am loving it so far, and I will anticipate, like, I do think that I'm only gonna love it more. So yeah, I guess I'll update you. Like I said, I'm about halfway through now, so I guess I'll update you once I finish this book and give you all my thoughts. Oh, one thing I did want to say, some things in this book do read a little bit dated, since this was written in 2015. And I don't know, I feel like this, more than The Deal, really does read like I'm reading from a 21-year-old's perspective. I mean, I know I'm reading a college romance, so I get that. But I felt like, I don't know, I felt like Garrett and Hannah were a little bit more mature than Logan in particular. And Grace, since she is a sophomore, does read really, really young. But anyway, I guess we'll see. Now she has like this whole makeover thing. But yeah, I guess I'll just update you once I finish, unless something really big happens that I really need to talk about. All right, so I'm here to review The Mistake. So I did really like it. I was debating for a while. It has taken me a while to film this update, because I was really debating whether this was a 5-star read or a 4-star read. Ultimately, I settled on a 4-star read. I did really, really love John Logan. I was very interested in him. I was very interested in his background, the fact that, you know, his whole family situation. Grace, I did like her, but I do have to say that I didn't really understand why he fell in love with her. I did feel like the reasonings were a little bit shallow. Like, she was different than all the other girls because she likes action movies and she dresses, you know, quirky and however she likes. And that, to me, I don't know, it just felt like a little bit shallow. Whereas, especially if I compare it to The Deal, you really saw them building a friendship before falling in love. Also, I do feel like even though she forgave him, and I ultimately definitely did forgive him, the first interactions with them, he really acted very douchey. So, whereas I do feel like Garrett, even though in the first book he was very insistent and persistent as to why she should tutor him, he was never an actual, like, he was acting douchey, but more like in a jokey, funny way. He was never an actual douche to her. He never really did things to actively hurt her. But like I said, I still really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I can definitely see why people love the off-campus series so much, and I do understand why it has stood the test of time, because right now it's 2023. These books came out in 2015, and I still thoroughly enjoyed them. Like, they could have been written this year and I would have believed you. But yeah, ultimately a 4-star, which is still a very good rating. It's still a book I would recommend over and over and over again. I am very much looking forward to reading the 3rd and 4th book in this series. But I do feel like, I don't know, I just have a feeling that the deal, especially since it's mostly the deal that keeps being recommended, I do feel like the deal is gonna be my favorite in the series. So I don't know, we'll see. I guess just follow me in the next couple of months, because I do plan on finishing the off-campus series this year. And then I started Mile High. So I'm on page 114 right now, and I'm really enjoying it. I do have to say, I did flip through this book a little bit, and I did see them hooking up pretty early on, which makes me think, why is this book so long if they're already hooking up before page 200? So I guess we'll see about that. I do love their dynamic. It's very like, not really hate, more like he just wants to push her buttons, and it's pretty early on in this book that you realize that it's not actually hate, that they kind of enjoy their interactions together. Basically, Stevie is a flight attendant and Xander's is a professional hockey player, and he's basically a bad boy, a man-ho. Basically, he just fucks women and then doesn't date them. Yeah, Stevie, she's a flight attendant and she's working on his team's private airplane. So, and he just wants, like, he kind of annoys her by making her his, like, primary flight attendant, just makes her do unnecessary things for him. Since she's not head over heels in love with him right away like every other woman, he's intrigued by that. The reason she's not is because her twin brother actually is a professional basketball player, which we follow his story in the 2nd book. So yeah, I do really like their dynamic. One thing that is bothering me a little bit, because it's like a personal trigger to me, is the fact that she is a curvier girl, and that is not a trigger, but the fact that the family around, like her family around her, not her brother, but more her mom and her friends, keep making comments, and that is making her insecure. So every time somebody says something that's sort of related to her body, she internalizes that. And, you know, there was this scene at the bar where she felt like she was taking up too much space, and people weren't, like, because of that, people weren't willing to let her pass, and she kind of felt invisible because of that. I 100% relate to that. I felt this way many a time. I've had very, very big issues surrounding my body, surrounding people commenting on my body, surrounding, like, exactly how she's feeling. So this does feel a little bit close to home. I do have to say, Liz Tomforde accurately describes what that feels like. But like I said, it's just making me feel down about my own self a little bit. So that is, I guess, the opposite of what you want. So I'm very interested to see how she's going to tackle that with the sex scene, for example. But yeah, so far they haven't really done anything. They just had, like, these little interactions outside of the airplane. So I'm very, very excited about it. Like I said in my intro, I truly don't understand why this romance, I already don't understand why this romance is almost 600 pages, but I guess we'll see if I change my mind at the end of the video. So yeah, I don't know when I'll finish it. My plan was to finish it today, but I have like 3 videos to film and edit at least one. So I don't know if I can finish it today, but if not, then I'll definitely finish it tomorrow. All right, apparently I can only update you guys after I filmed a video. Anyway, I finished Mile High yesterday, and I really wanted to sit with it for a while. I was debating giving it a 4-star or giving it a 5-star. In the end, I decided on a 4-star, mainly because I'm currently reading The Right Move, and the differences between the two is just astronomical to me, which I'll talk about The Right Move in a second. Mile High, I did really enjoy. Like I said, I did debate giving it 5 stars, but I do feel like it was too much. Like, it was too big. Like, what I was scared of in the beginning really played out. This could have easily been at least 100 pages less, and maybe even 150 pages less. Especially in the middle part, it was just dragging too much. This just didn't, like, it could have been cut a little bit. Having said that, I did overall really enjoy it. I loved watching Stevie. Stevie I relate to a lot, mainly with her body confidence issues. And I know for some people that might not seem like, you might feel like she's getting down on herself a little bit, but to me it was so unbelievably relatable, especially since she was still in an environment where people around her were constantly reminding her of everything that was wrong with her body, which basically, and that is exactly my situation, or my situation in the past, where yes, I've had family members often comment to me about my weight, and even though I was trying to be positive about myself, anytime I came across those family members, they reminded me over and over again everything that was wrong with my body. So that was very relatable to me, and I really loved seeing her journey. And I know some people might take issue with the fact that she needed a man to feel confident, but to me, like, yes, having sex with a man, especially a man that looks like that, who is a professional athlete, yes, obviously you're going to feel self-conscious about it, and yes, you would need words of affirmation in that situation to feel a little bit more confident. So I did really love that aspect. I loved the whole mental health aspect in this book. I loved how well therapy was talked about, and you actually got to see Xander's actually go to therapy. I didn't even realize that was a part of this story. I really loved seeing that. I really loved that story. I loved her taking care of the senior dogs. One thing I don't love is Xander is not really my type of hero. I don't love these flashy millionaire types. Like, especially, once again, comparing it to The Right Move. I know I shouldn't, but technically this hero here makes double the amount of this hero makes, yet you never really hear about it, except that he lives in an expensive apartment. But other than that, he's not really flashy, whereas this one is very flashy. I know that's part of his character, part of his charm. It's just I'm never gonna really love those type of heroes. I did really, like, I shouldn't say that. I did love him, but I'm not gonna fall head over heels for those type of heroes, because that's just really not my thing. Overall, did really love how he was opening himself up to fall in love again because of the hurt that has been caused him in the past. I did think that both of their issues were very realistic as to what prevented them from being in a relationship or being scared of being in a relationship. I loved watching him with his teammate and his best friend and their family, and the fact that he once, eventually he realized that is what he wanted to. One other thing I really enjoyed was actually the first and last line of this book, how those were connected to each other. Overall, I would highly, highly recommend it. It was a very enjoyable time to me. I do understand why people love this series so much. And now for The Right Move. This I already know is going to be a 5 stars, and I 100% understand why this is everybody's favorite in this series. Basically, in The Right Move, you follow Stevie, who's the female main character in this book. You follow her brother, Ryan, who is the captain of the Chicago Devils, a basketball team. And you follow Indy, who we met also in the first book. She's Stevie's friend, who she met while she was a flight attendant for the hockey team. Basically, Indy, in the last book, she found her boyfriend cheating on her, and then, like, she had nowhere else to go except for her parents, but her parents left to live in Florida, so she has nowhere to go in Chicago. So Stevie basically forces her brother Ryan to take Indy in, and Ryan really doesn't want to because he is so famous, and basically his house is his sanctuary, his only safe place, and he was fine with his sister living there, but not this stranger. Plus, they've had some very awkward interactions in the first book, but he reluctantly agrees. And this just has some of my favorite tropes. It has roommates turned lovers. It has fake dating, because Ryan, he's so focused on basketball that he really doesn't have a personal life whatsoever. He doesn't date, and he recently got picked as captain, and he knows that his general manager is not a fan of him, and they have a conversation where his general manager is like, being a captain is more than just being the best. You have to have you know, a personal connection and you don't even date, stuff like that. So basically, pretty flimsy reason, but basically he lies to his general manager saying he does have a girlfriend. So he basically talks Indy into pretending she's his fake girlfriend. Plus, Indy kind of needs a date to a wedding of her friends because her ex is also going to be there. Already, I hate her friends. They suck because all of them chose his side. He was the one who was in the wrong. So that is obviously going to come ahead. I'm pretty sure it's going to come ahead at the wedding, which I'm not there yet. I love this book. I know why people swoon over Ryan Shea because he's literally the perfect man. I love him so much. Already, I love their interactions together when they're fake dating, but also when they're home. The fact that she really, really needs money also Indy deals with fertility issues and she needs to save up money for to freeze her eggs. He doesn't know about it, but she has to have a second job to do rideshare for that. And there's this one scene where it just melted my heart, where he just played awfully because he knows that she was doing a rideshare and he was just so worried for her. That was such a good scene. It was so sweet and adorable. And the fact that he's aware that he has no right to feel this way or to tell her that she cannot do that, that just, you know, made me melt all the more. And yeah, there are a couple scenes in here where there was a scene where she was massaging him and it was so, I just love them. And I love all the acts of service he does for her when he realizes that she's vegetarian. So he stops buying regular bacon and he starts buying vegetarian bacon and telling her that it kind of tastes the same, so he's fine with it. And the fact that she only drinks iced coffee, so he starts making coffee for himself in the morning and putting her coffee in the fridge for her. I mean, he's just the fucking best. I already love him. I'm on page 163 and I already can tell this is going to be a 5-star book. I really understand why people love this book so much and why they love him so much. So yeah, so far I'm like thoroughly enjoying this reading vlog. I already have 1 5. This is probably also going to be a 5 and the other 2 were 4 stars. And this is like, if I gave half stars, this would definitely be a 4.5. So yes, these are my updates for now. I am going to hopefully fly through this book. I definitely do think I will because every time I stop I only want to continue. Yeah, very, very happy with these books. So I guess the last update is going to be me finishing The Right Move unless there's like a really big scene that I really want to talk about. But since this is a non-spoiler vlog, I don't anticipate that I can. So yes, I guess I'll see you in my last update for this vlog. Guys, I finished The Right Move and I fucking loved it. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite books I read this year. This was perfect. It was a perfect book in my opinion. Ryan Shea is the perfect book boyfriend. In fact, if I could get a man half as amazing as Ryan Shea, I'd be the luckiest woman in the world. He is so good. I loved this book so much. I tapped the hell out of it. All of these were scenes I absolutely adored. This is 100% a 5 out of 5 stars. What can I say? I loved almost every single scene in this book. Comparing it to Mile High, which is about 70 pages longer, this did not feel as long at all. Like this was 70 pages shorter, but I'm pretty sure I would have loved it just as much if it had been 70 pages longer. So yeah, I definitely preferred it over Mile High. Indy was amazing. Ryan was amazing. I do have to say I did relate as much as I related to Stevie as far as like physical appearance, body issues were concerned. I related to Indy personality-wise. Like I think a lot of us related to her with her love for books. You know, the fact that she said, you know, I'm just like other girls. That was hilarious to me. And I really loved that. I loved every single interaction together. This just has some of my favorite tropes. This just proved to me, that was my oven, sorry. This just proved to me that the roommate trope is a superior trope, that the fake dating trope is a superior trope. This was so good. I loved how Ryan was learning sign language just to interact with her dad, even though they were not a couple at that point. That was the most adorable thing in the world. He's just the perfect man. I absolutely love this book. I cannot even tell you, like, This was so good. I want to cry with how good it was. Also, the sex scenes were top notch in here. Like, Ryan Shea has a dirty mouth and he can use it any day of the week. Like, he can get it any day of the week. I now understand the Ryan Shea love. I am all in. Listen, I'm going to be definitely a member of the Ryan Shea fan club because this man deserved it. This was so good. This was everything I've ever wanted. It's like I said, it's 100% my favorite book I read for this video, but also a favorite, like it's going to be a favorite of the year without a shadow of a doubt. In fact, I really want to reread it right now, but alas, I cannot. Are there any thoughts I have? Yeah, I also really thought both their struggles were pretty realistic. You know, the fact that what happened to him in his past and the way that that made him so distrustful of people. And what happened with her and her ex and the fact that everybody in her life kept using her. One thing I do have to say that I felt like she could have handled a little bit differently. So there is a point in here where he mentions, you know, the trust issues and also like the deep hole he was in a couple of years ago. One thing that she could have focused a little bit more on is, you know, therapy for him, because that is not mentioned at all in here, even though his sister's boyfriend started this whole mental health foundation and he regularly donates to it. So I felt like a thing that could have definitely happened and would have been 100% authentic is him talking to Xander's, the hero from Mile High, about his issues and having Xander suggest therapy for him. I felt like that was a missed opportunity, and that, like, I felt like it would have been right if that was included, but unfortunately it wasn't. Other than that, I really loved it. Like, this also proved to me how fame is just sucks. Like, I just felt so sorry for him. The fact that he was trapped in his apartment, that he couldn't really go anywhere. Every time he went somewhere, people just like took pictures of him and were asking things of him. I felt like this book really pinpointed the negative side of fame. But yeah, all in all, I really loved it. I loved all the interactions of them in this book, and it was 100% a perfect book in my opinion. So let me rank all the books I read for this vlog. So I read 4 books, 4 sports romances from 2 different series. First of all, before I even rank them, I do definitely understand why these series are so popular. I 100% agree. These are definitely books I will recommend over and over and over again. If you haven't read any of these series yet and you're looking for a good sports romance series, I would highly recommend these series and these books. But anyway, there's got to be winners and losers in a vlog like this. So my least favorite book, that I still gave 4 stars, by the way, is The Mistake. I felt like out of all of them, this was definitely the weakest. I did really enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. It's still a 4-star. I would still recommend it. But compared to the other books I read for this vlog, it just, I didn't love it as much. Then 3rd place is Mile High. Once again, really did love it. It's a 4-star. I did really relate to a lot of things in this book, especially Evie, and there were definitely a lot of favorite scenes for me. But especially comparing it to The Right Move, it just, I'm sorry, but it kind of pales in comparison, because that, like, The Right Move is definitely where it's at. And I do know that The Right Move is definitely the one that, like, I do know The Right Move gets hyped a little bit more than this one, with good reason in my opinion. So this one, like I said, 4 stars. Then my second favorite was The Deal. I gave that one 5 stars. I really loved it. This definitely stands the test of time. If you've not read this one, and even if you're a little bit older and not in college, I would highly recommend, because I'm 30. I haven't, like, it has been years for me since I went to college or university in the Netherlands. It's still so good. Once again, my oven. It is still so good. I would still highly recommend it. Garrett is definitely a book boyfriend. He is so swoony. And then my favorite, if that was not clear, was The Right Move. 5 stars without a shadow of a doubt. This was perfect. I loved it so much. So yeah, I had so much fun doing this sports romance vlog. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. Also, if you can recommend me some good sports romances, I would definitely love that. I would actually love some basketball recommendations, actually, because my first ever sports romance that I loved was actually Nayli from One Tree Hill, which was also a basketball romance. So Since I know a bunch of hockey romances, and the other three books I talk about in this video are all hockey romance, I know that is a very popular trope nowadays. I don't hear a whole lot about basketball romance. So if you have a couple recommendations for me, I would really love that, or any sports romance, really. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.